Hello everyone. Drop a thumbs up if you can hear me and I am live. Ritvik, welcome. Sandeep, welcome. Uh, you guys can hear me, right? Am I live? Or do I have to check? Let me just check. YouTube. Okay. Yes. Like you can hear me. That's great. So yeah, welcome everyone. Cool. So we'll start in like a few minutes. Before that, like I would want to just introduce some of the things. So there's a good news for you all. So this build with Hussain is going to happen every Wednesday now. So that's like wish me luck. Yeah. And hi Abhay, we have my. Yeah, do let me know from where you are joining and what time is it in your country. Hi Kenneth. Good to have you. Awesome. Hi Abdullah. Glad to know. Cool. South Africa. Awesome. So it's 2:30 p.m. in India. So like I just had lunch and then came for the stream. 12 p.m. Palestine. Yeah, good time. So last time we also had like few people. I don't know from like there was like 3:30 a.m. in the midnight and they were joining. Hi Kenneth, Indonesia 16, Saudi. Awesome. Cool. So what's the story behind Build with Hussain? So as you may have know, I started as an intern at Frappe and then I joined like full time when I thought like it was time. So I then like full into coding development and slowly I learned a lot about Frappe framework and then I wanted to basically I saw there is a lack of awareness and content about Frappe framework that such an awesome tool is like not known to everyone and like whenever I talk to someone they say like it's awesome we didn't knew it, about it before. So then I started to think how can I fix this content issue. So then I slowly started writing blogs on Frappe.io if you have ever been there. So I wrote a few tutorial blogs and then also some blogs regarding experiences and all. And there's suddenly build with Hussain. So there was this discussion in the marketing team that we should build something like. And then like after the first episode, like I just like when we were thinking about a name, I thought build with Hussain, and then out of nowhere, then it became kind of a brand for me and for yeah. So that was the story in short. Bronze asks, hey Hussain, how do you get internship at Frappe actually? So you go to frappe.io/careers and apply, or you can email hr@frappe.io with your resume and why you want to work at Frappe, and we will let you know. So sure, Sayed, I will share the blog links. So I think it's time to start. Before that, the next session is on next Wednesday, as you may know. So I'm going to be joined by Nikhil Kothari, who has built Raven, Slack alternative with React and Frappe. So he also has created tools like React JS SDK and Frappe React SDK and Frappe JS SDK. So he's going to join us. We are going to build an expense tracker live with React and Frappe. So do join in next week as well. So I don't have like a registration form yet, but I will have it live soon. So 31st May, we are going to build that buildwithhussain.dev website together. Cool. Any other questions? Today's live stream is like we go through basics of Python pretty quick. I cover basic loops, conditionals, list that are like useful when writing server scripts, and then we will jump into creating a few doctypes and building a server script. like 3 server scripts actually. Cool. Like quick note, subscribe, because more the subscription, the happier I am, the more I can do. So cool. Also, follow me on Twitter. I post sometimes behind the scenes stuff there. So yeah, let's start. Let me jump to the scene. Cool. I hope my screen is visible now. Just let me know in the chat. I think my screen is stuck, but wait. Display capture, show cursor. Okay, now it is visible. So yeah, let me come back here. And yeah, so Frappe framework you all know, I guess. If you don't, just let me know in the chat. We can have a very basic session like soon enough for like absolute beginners of Frappe. But this session is for people who already know what Frappe framework is. And yeah, they have been using it for no code, I think. So now we'll jump to low code stuff. So you can like write small scripts to do some stuff. Cool. And yeah, Python. So as you may know, Frappe framework is written in JavaScript plus Python. So JavaScript is basically written in the front end, and back end is like total Python. So anything you write, custom apps, even the code base, Frappe code base, ERP next, everything is like written in Python, the backend. Python is like very easy to learn language, and it like I started with C# and then C++, and when I found Python, it was like not going back, because Python is like really easy to learn. And I think one of the main objectives I read somewhere behind creating this language was to make the education of programming easier. And I think it did effect, like made an impact there. So yeah, so you to follow along, you can either download Python in your local system and like run Python 3 or Python command, and you can like execute commands and learn. The second way is to directly use the console inside Frappe, which I'm going to do. And you can also follow along. Let's just sign up together and create a free site for 15 days. So let's do that. So I'll go to frappeframework.com. So if anytime my voice drops or any issue with the video, please let me know in the chat. I'm constantly looking at the chat as well. So I'll click try on Frappe Cloud. Okay, internal server error. Cool. This is not good, but okay. Maybe they are updating. frappecloud.com. Internal server error. Cool. So I'll do one thing. I'll just message the team that this isn't working. Till then, okay. I'll sit down. Wrong group. I am live. Yeah. Cool. No issues. Maybe they're updating the system or something. Hi Akhtar Mohammed. Good to know. So yeah, one question Vimal is asking. I use like this tool, right? Wait. Are you asking about this? So this is Raycast, and it's like pretty good. Like it's not open source, but it's free to use for a single person. Like I like its design. I like the shortcuts, so you can, yeah. So is it just not working for me? Cool. I'm trying to refresh. Am I doing something wrong? New. Okay. Private window. What is it called? Window. Why it won't let me open a window? Okay, new incognito window. And now I can do is frappecloud.com. Internal server error. Okay, they are doing something. They will, as soon as we are done, we'll go there. So till then, what we can do is like we can start by running Python right in the terminal. So that's one option. The text is visible, right? Let me make it a little bigger. Cool. Clear doesn't work here. Okay. Awesome. So we are in the Python REPL. So basically this is like, give it one line, it will execute. Give it 3 lines, it will execute and like immediately show you the output. Other ways like writing it in files, which is the more conventional approach. So you write in files and basically run the file itself, the script itself. Cool. And then like once you are inside here, like the first basic thing in any programming language. So if you learn this, like today's concepts, you can easily carry over to any other language if you want. So JavaScript also has concept of variables, conditionals, group. So I believe like 5 pillars are there in programming. First is variables. Second is conditionals. Third is loops, functions and classes. So we are going till functions today because that would be like more than enough for writing server scripts and getting started. Yeah, print hello world. This is the like easiest program or the first program everyone writes to like instead of the world, let's write hello from Frappe. So yeah, this is your first Python program. So one line, hit enter, done. So it prints it, right? So you give it something, it will interpret it and it will print it. So it's not like you have to compile some binary and then execute. So that are like compiled languages like C++ and Java. Python is like interpreted. So it like give it a line, it will execute, it will get back as like instantly. Cool. So print, before going into print in a detail, let me just tell you about variables. So variables are basically your data storage. So if you have some data and you want to store it somewhere for use maybe later for some calculations, there are variables in programming language that basically are stored in the RAM, and whenever you like ask for it back, it will give you, the programming language will automatically fetch it from the RAM and give it to you. So let me just like define a variable right here and then we'll talk about it. So a equal to 3. So it's a variable. So what happened behind the scene is Python created a box. So imagine it like this. I always imagine it like this. So created a box and then Python wrote a label, right? A outside the box and inside the box is 3. So when you do print A, so Python will go to its storage and look for a box named A, right? And give you the value out of it, right? If it is there. Simple enough. It's like pretty straightforward. You have box, you store data, and like programming language, the Python remembers it and gives you back once you ask for it. If it is not there, then what happens? It won't give you. It's like B is not defined. You haven't defined a variable. So this is called defining a variable, right? A is 3. So this is like your first exception as well if you haven't worked. Akhtar Mohammed asks, is Frappe based on Flask framework? No, like Flask is a micro framework and Frappe is like a framework on its own. So it's not like built on something like other framework. So it has like own web server components and everything. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, let's move ahead. Command L works, Control L works. So Control L to clear the screen. So A is 3, we know that. And then what do we do now? So we now know how to define a variable. So we can define another one. So B equal to 4. So A is 3 and B is 4, right? So it's working. Am I stuck? Wait. I've removed my camera. Am I still audible, right? Can anyone just confirm? Yeah, Mudassir, sign up is not working because I think Frappe Cloud is team is doing some maintenance. Yeah, they are doing some maintenance, so they will be back soon. Cool. So next step is basically we want is let me turn on the front camera. So I have a call getting. Okay. I have do not disturb on, right? Do not disturb is on. Cool. And then, okay, where were we? So we were at variables. So we have A, we have B. And then you can do some operations, right? Because without operations, what's the use of programming language? So you can do like mathematical operations like A plus B, right? So it will take the value out of A and then take the value from, what do you say? B, and add them together and give it to you. Why blue? Okay. Okay, my front camera went dead, but that's fine. We'll continue. So yeah, this was like you can do mathematical operators like A minus B, A plus B, A divided by B, A multiplied by B. So multiplied is like the asterisk symbol. So this was like mathematical operators, and then like there are different types of variables that you can create. So data types of the variables. So imagine it like there is a separate box for bottles, there is a separate box for say biscuits, chocolates, right? This kind of thing. So if I do A equal to 3, yeah, Prince, I know you can't see me. So let me just try to fix it again. I don't know what went wrong, but to do use buffering. Okay. It won't let me. Let me just add another front camera source. Is it dead? Resume. Yeah, I'm just trying to fix that. Give me a minute. Yeah, it's fixed, but the color is now blue. Properties. To do filters. Color is how can I go transparent here? Black. Yeah, now I should be visible. Desktop, mask, close. Am I visible now? Yeah, cool. So let's continue. Cool. I will press Command L again, Control L. So we were A, B, and A minus B. This is clear, right? This is like nothing. And then I was talking about different data types. So this is like A equal to 3. So 3 is an integer, right? And we can have name equal to Hussain. So this is a string. So like you can either use double quotes or single quotes. Like Python accepts both. And string is basically a string of characters. So if you took a string and like tied the characters with each other, so that's where the string comes from. Then we also have like floating point numbers. I think there is a type function. Yeah. So the type function tells you what type of variable it is. So whenever you have any doubt, so if I check name, it will show me str means string, right? So like very handy function to check what type of variable you're working with. Then we also have like a special type of variable which only has two options, which is a Boolean type of variable. So is logged in this is my variable name equal to true. So this capital T true and false are like Boolean variables. So the switch can be on or off, right? Two states. So this is used to track that. And then Control L again. A is logged in. So if you check now, it is there, right? Cool. So that is like simplest of things of variable. So you have something to store, you want to do some processing later on that variable, or user has given you something and you want to store, like variables are the way to go. So you create a variable, give it a name, assign it a value. That's it. We'll see some examples when we write server scripts as well. The next thing is string formatting, which is like very useful. So printing, as you saw, you can print like A, you can print B, right? You can also like print a comma separated value and it will print both the things. So A space B. You can also change the separator, like lot of stuff in print. So I would recommend you go in Python docs and check out like the print functions doc. So print is a function, so you can tell anything is a function by like checking it how we are calling it. So it is called calling a function. You give it something, it will do something and get back, right? So the print function takes however many things you give it to print, it will print it, and you can give special instructions on what to do, and it will change its behavior based on that. We'll learn more of this in the functions part. Like if you have any doubts, like please ask in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Cool. Yeah, input processing output, as Ritvik says. So you take an input, like we haven't seen taking an input yet, but you take an input and then you store it somewhere, like you process it, and then you output using print, or like in case of web pages, you output a HTML and it gets rendered in a browser. So like all complex software comes down to this pieces, right? So now we know how to print stuff. And let's play with strings, because strings are like most common, I guess. And I guess for me it's like the most common, because everywhere you are using strings, first name, last name, like lots of variables with strings, and you do a lot. So let's create two strings. First name is Hussain. Okay, I'm being too what do you say? Let's use John. Last name. As I'll pick someone's name, John Kumar, that's what. Right? We created two variables, the first name and the last name. And now what I will do is I will basically print first name, FIRST, first name, comma, last name, John Kumar. As expected, you can like give print however many you want and it will print it. So yeah, Bo Becker Fofana, am I pronouncing your name correct? Like how to capture keyboard input and print it using this function print. I used to use the class scanner in Java to do. So yeah, it's like much easier. I can show you a one-line way, but like first let me complete the print and then we'll go to input. Yeah, so what I can do is like, and I can do this first name plus last name, and then store it in other variable, full name, right? Now what Python did behind the scenes is it joined both, right? So this is called string concatenation. You are concatenating one string to another, joining basically, right? So now John Kumar is there, but I don't like the space is missing, right? So let's do one thing. We can redefine the same variable so it like overrides the previous value. So first name plus a space. So space is also a character, right? Plus a space and then a last name. So now full name should be what we want, John Kumar. Expected. Straightforward, doing string concatenation. You cannot like subtract a string from other string. If you try this, like Python will give you an error, because subtraction is not defined for strings. Like you can subtract numbers like 9 minus 10, it will work, but you can't subtract a string from a string, because does this make sense? Subtract John from Doe. Does not make sense, right? Yeah. Cool. So next we have, input. So you won't need input in case of server script, because mostly the input comes via the API forms or like document data and so on, but like I will cover it. So you just, the user input, like this is the name of the variable, it can be anything you want, and I will give it input, and I can pass the input function a prompt. So it will be a string on what to prompt the user, right? What is your name? And I hit enter. So it printed what is your name, and if you see, it didn't like jump to the next, the next instruction. So it's waiting. So it has the cursor here and it is waiting for input. So what I can do is, the user can basically type in his name, Hussain, and enter. Now it is like captured the input and stored it in the variable user input. So if I check user input, Hussain Nagaria, right? As easy as that. You don't have to import anything. The scanner, I have like worked with Java, I know the scanner class like brought a lot of memories back. I don't know, like 2 years ago I was working in Java somehow. Yeah, so you can like in one line also you can do this. So print input, what is your age, right? What is your age? 67. Like it took there and it printed it, right? So what I did is like I took an input and I passed it to the print function to print it. So single line. That's why I love Python. Cool. Now you get that, right? So user input is basically Hussain Nagaria. And if you want to convert, like, because this input function always returns a string, right? So if I do a equal to this and tell me your age, right? It asks me for the age, 67, and a is 67. But notice the quotation marks, right? Because it's a string. So like I have planned to end it at 4, but let's see. Rahil asks, like as long as you guys are interested, because like I can't go till 4:32, but let's see, because we have a lot to cover. We do have like record, this gets automatically recorded and uploaded to YouTube. So even if like you don't have time, you can like check out the recording, leave comments there. I'll be happy to have a look. So yeah, so how do you convert this to a int, right? So you use the int function, which basically takes a string or float or anything and then converts it into an integer, if possible. If you go ahead and do this, it won't, because like it should be a valid like digits, right? Cool. So that works. I covered like mathematical operators. You can use like 10 plus 10 and 10 minus 10. Okay. You see what happened here? 1 minus minus 3. So it's like minus minus plus. Like that's what we have been taught. And then it adds it. So it's 4. Cool. And we also have like this division, which is like doesn't exist in languages like Python and Java. This operator is called integer division. So it divides and like floors down to the nearest integer. So 9 divided by 2 is 4.5, and it like trims it down to the nearest integer, which is 4. Cool. We also have this like the modulo operator. So this gives the remainder after the division. So 9 divided by 2 is like 2 4 is 8, and then 1 is the remainder. Cool. So apart from mathematical operators, we have like comparison operators. So Kavya is asking, this is my first live class, I'm confused which code directory you are executing code through. So Kavya, I basically in my terminal ran the Python like after you install Python from python.org, you should be able to access this command in your command line. And then I jumped into this and I'm writing code there. Make sense? Cool. Yeah, so comparison operators are basically A 10, let's say B is 6, are like mathematical operators, but like for comparison. So A greater than B. So what do you think would be the output? So in real world, if you ask someone, is A greater than B, what answer would you expect? Either yes or no, right? So that's why when you ask this to the Python interpreter, it will say true or false, right? Because that's the type of variable you'll get. So I can like show you if I use this bool, right? So it's a boolean variable. If I do A is greater than equal to B, then also true. What if I do B is less than 7? True. B is greater than 7? False. Because 6 is not greater than 7. A is greater than equal to B means 10 is greater than equal to 6. True. Right? Awesome. Now we know about Boolean variables. So they are very useful when we learn about conditionals next. We also have like two important operators which are for Booleans. So this were for numbers, and for Booleans we have like and or. So what happens is many a times, so how do I explain this? So many a times you want to make decisions based on some condition, right? So like, I don't know, in high school, like we were given questions like take a number from user, and if he is like 18 years old, print this. If he is more than 18, print this, and if he is less than 18, print that. In that case, you can use the comparison operators. And in some cases, it also asks you, they are like in blue house and they are like 19 years of age. So you and, right? So how do you make those conditions? So these are the two operators that like very useful, most common operators in Boolean logic. Yeah, so let's try this. A is greater than 3 is true, and B is less than 10. True. So this means this both should be true for the output to be true. So if I just went here and swap this, A is greater than 3, 10 is greater than 3, which is true, right? And then B is less than 10. B is less than 10 was true. That's why true and true is true. So and is only true when both the operands are true, right? And then the second one, this became false. So true and false is false. So when I teach this to my like cousins, friends, which I usually do in like free time, so they have a subject in school called IP, and they like, I give them an example that and is very greedy. He wants like both of his hands full, and or is like modest. You give him like one of the hand, like give him something in one of the hands, he will be happy. So and is not happy until you give him something in both the hands. So both should be true. That's like good way to remember for them. Cool. And or, so let's do A is greater. So I can do 10 is greater than 3, or 6 is less than 4. So they should be true, right? According to our logic, if even if one of the sides of the or is true, it will give true. True. Awesome. So now we have covered like the logical operators. Like there is many more things you can do. So I would suggest you practice after this stream, like rewatch the stream if needed and practice it. Like a good skill to have, programming always. And then cool. So let's jump to fun stuff. Now comes conditionals. So till now what we have been doing is like we have been executing code, like we give variables, we can print stuff, we can take input from the user. But now comes logic. So how do you make our program take decisions, right? Because suppose like you went into Frappe site and you clicked on submit button, right? On a sales invoice. So sometimes it throws you error, like validation errors, like this cannot be negative or the item quantity is not defined or whatnot. So how can we make programs that take decisions based on some things, right? So behind the scenes, the Python code in the Frappe would have tested it, like whether this is true or not, and then based on that took action. So this is where the logical operators come in, like conditionals come in. If, right, 10 is greater than 3. So this is the syntax. You write if, like English, if this is true, right? Semicolon, and then you write the body. So I'll give 2 spaces, you can give 4 spaces, but be consistent with the spaces, otherwise it gives you error. So Python is indentation based, so even a slight white space error can cause issues. It's not like Java or something where semicolons are there, but here you don't have semicolons, you have white indentation based separation in blocks. So if 10 is greater than 3, we want to print 10 greater than 3. So if I hit enter now, it will execute both the lines of code, and based on the truthiness of this thing, like whether it is true or not, then it will basically print. So it printed 10 is greater than 3. So what I will do is I will bring it back. I will just like clear it off, and if 10 is greater than 4, print 10 greater than 4. Right? Let me just switch the symbol. Print 10 less than 4. It didn't print anything because it was false. So it will execute the code inside the body. It's called the body of the conditional. This code only if this condition is true. Make sense? Cool. And we can do something else. So I'll do this. Print 10 less than 4 else. So now I like came out of the body and wrote else. So it means if 10 is less than 4, do this, else means in other cases, right? Do this. So print no you fool. So yeah, so it's saying no you fool because like it went there, it checked 10 is less than 4, true or false? False, right? Because 10 is like greater than 4, and then it didn't execute this and then went to else and then printed this. Cool. Makes sense? So this is how robotics work, right? Artificial intelligence works. Like you give it some logic, like if you see a wall in front of you, turn left or turn right, right, to the robot. And then like nowadays there are sensors, so robot uses the sensors, and then based on sensors input, like somewhere deep there would be if conditional. Yep, if else. Cool. So let's write a program which takes your name and then prints hooray if your name starts with H, otherwise it will say sorry. Silly program, but let's do it. Yeah, okay. So user's name equal to input. We learned the input function. Input, what is your name? What is your name? Hussain. Right. If you write it in a file, it will execute like together, and user won't see the input until the basically we have written all the code in the file. So I will show you an example later. So if user name, right? So how do you access the first character of a string? So this is called indexing. So you do this 0. So it gives you the first character. So H, because in computer indexing or array number start at 0. You can do 1. So this means the second character, and so on and so forth. So I'll check if the 0th character is equal to. So you can't use equal because this equal is already used for assigning stuff to variables, right? So that's why like the creators of the programming languages came up with this as equality operator. So you are comparing whether it is h print array else print sorry for you rude but hooray. And if I just change this name to say Kavya and bring back the program, so hooray, I'm just hitting the up arrow key to bring back the code I have written. To bring back sorry for you, right? So based on the condition it printed it. You can also use there are many string functions. So abc dot is upper, right? False. So there are like functions on strings which you can call to check some stuff. So it will check whether this whole thing is uppercase or not, right? So if I can write a dot is lower, it will give true because a is a lowercase letter. Cool. There are also stuff like is digit false because it's not a digit, and if you enter 0 its digit is true. I hope that makes sense. There are like a lot of such functions in Python. So you can go to string, I guess, the docs, and you can find out more. I would recommend you to play around. Yep. Now we know how conditionals work. There is like one more thing to conditionals. Let's try that out. A equal to 10. If a is less than 2, print less than 2. Else if we are like, no, it is not else. Let me write it down and I will like walk you through. If a is equal 10, print it is a 10. Else print I don't know what you are talking about. So it is a 10, right? So it comes here, it checks if it is an less than 2. 10 is not less than 2, so it jumps to elif before else. Then it checks whether a is equal to 10. Yeah, it is true, then it executes and comes out of the conditional. If a was not equal to 10, then it would have come to else. Make sense? Cool. Now we have covered if else. Now we can cover some two data structures, list and dictionaries. So we saw that we can store simple stuff like this in variables, right? Name equal to John, etc. Now what do we want? So you know list view if you have used Frappe, and they're like lots of records. So what do you think? People went ahead and like doc1 equal to this, doc2 equal to this. No, right? In database, like someone went and defined one variable for one this. No. So there is like two data structures. One is list, another is dictionary. So list is basically for storing a list of elements. It can be any data type. So let me just show you an example. So favorite colors equal to, so you use a square bracket and then you can define red, green, blue, right? Comma separated value list of values, and then favorite colors, if you check, have all the 3 elements. And then to access an element, just like strings, you can do, right, to make sense, because like this is the address. Basically 0 is the address of the first element, and 1 is the address of second element, and 2 is the address of third element. Awesome. I hope this is making sense till now. Should I go faster or slower? And I hope I am still live. I'm like pretty terrified by live streams because yeah, they can go offline and you never know. Cool. Rahil says faster, Mai says faster. Let's see. Cool. I'll try to do both. So maybe. Let's see. So favorite colors, red, green, blue, and you can access like the first color using 0, second color using 1, and third is blue. So this is about list. So you can have like list of anything. So let me have a list of student marks, and then it can be 10.9, 27.8, 100. So these are out of 100, and I'm pretty sure these two guys failed, whoever they were. And then student marks of 1. Yep. So Kavya asks, can we have list of different data types? Yeah. So they are called heterogeneous list. So you can mix data types, but generally it is not done. But like you, in 1% of cases you will find it. Like 99% of times the list will be homogeneous. So it will contain data types of the same thing. So either strings, either floats, right? So let me tell you my list, and then I can basically give it 10.9, 11. Why raycast? My name. What's the police car? Okay, I didn't get your emoji, but can you explain? My name, and then you can also have booleans. So let me mix everything, and now you can check, right? You can have heterogeneous data, and like the most interesting function, the most useful function is the length function. So you use the len function and give it a list, and it will give you the length of the thing, right? And so if you check, there are like 4 items in this list, so the output is 4. So now think about this. Just think about this. So till now, what do we learn? What did we learn? We learned how to take input, how to print stuff, how to store things to process, and then how to store them in a list, how to find the length. Conditionals, like a lot of stuff, but they are not used in isolation. They come in mix. And when you combine them, that's when the power, you get the power, right? You can combine stuff. So you can take a list of things from the user, and then you can add them. You can do whatever processing you want and apply a conditional, whether this guy passed or not. And then you print stuff. So that is your flow. You take input, you process, and then you print the output. Cool. And again, as I said, like you can use this to access a particular element. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Cool. Now what can we do? So you can also use the len function. So it's like multi-purpose. You can also use the len function to basically find the length of a string. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Correct? So this is how, like, if you check framework data field and you give it like more than, I don't know how many characters, 200 characters, it will throw, right? So it does the len thing on your data and then checks whether it is greater than, right, in your data, whatever data came from the front end, and checks and then throws, or basically shows you error message. Now we'll go to, so this was the list. So length of dictionary is important, and the other thing you should know is like how to access some elements of the list. Now we will jump to dictionaries, and then we'll go to loops. So loops and functions will be the meat of this. So dictionary is another data type in Python, which is very useful. It's like my favorite if you were to have a favorite data structure. So as it sounds, what is the dictionary? What's a dictionary? Dictionary is basically you have like list of words, and next to each word you have a definition, right? So when you want to know a meaning of some word, say apple, you open up the dictionary and look for apple. And when you give it the dictionary and apple, it gives you the definition of that, right? So what we can do is, to define a dictionary in Python. So dictionary is similar in like Python. So you give it a key. Key is basically the word that you want the meaning for. I'm comparing it to dictionary, the real dictionary, and you give it the meaning of it. And then when you give Python the key, it will give you the meaning back. So first you let Python know this is the key, this is the definition. So kind of creating the dictionary. So let's do that. My words equal to A is apple and we give it fruit. Let me just write the dictionary and then I will explain. Fan is an equipment, right? So in list, what did you use? You used square brackets. In dictionaries, you use curly braces, right? So apple, this is the key, and then colon, and then the value. So this dictionary, and then like to separate another key value, these are called key value pairs. So they come in pairs. So one is the key, one is the value, one is the key, one is the value, right? So there are like two elements in the dictionary. So if you check length of, so again len function is very useful. Length of my words. So it'll give you 2 because it has 2 key value pairs. And how do you access, right? In case of list, you accessed it like this, right? So, but dictionaries don't have order by default. And they are not supposed to be accessed via 0 or 1 or 2. So what you can do is list, they are like more powerful. So you define the address. You have already defined the address of every element. So my words, and then you give it the key, apple, right? You get the fruit out. And then my words of fan, you get equipment out because that's what you defined, right? Apple is mapped to fruit. So when you ask for apple, you get the fruit. When you ask for fan, you get the equipment. Makes sense? So this data structure can be used to do a lot of stuff. Let me just give you an example. So we have a student record, right? So let's create a student record. Math, he got 56. Physics, say the student, he or she got 67. Computer, she got 99. She's good at computer. And chemistry, she got 97. Enter. And then student, if you check, there are like 4 key value pairs, 1 2 3 4. And now you can do student of math plus student of physics plus student of chemistry, and store it in a variable, score, PCM score, because we are not adding computer here. So PCM score should have the sum of these 3 values, 56 plus 67 plus 97, right? And then what you can do is PCM score divided by 3, you get the average score. So you can combine stuff. And if you want to access like student dot, I'll tell you one thing. So let's cover that in loops. So is there any doubt you have in dictionaries or list? List is basically ordered, and every element has an index. So it's called an index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So Ritvik asks, what other methods can we use with dictionary? So dictionaries also have a lot of methods. Will come when we loop over them. We'll see. Any doubts till now? Or should we proceed? We covered variables. Just let me know in the chat. I'm waiting for your response. B is equal to 20, C equal to hello. Cool. D equal to 1, 2, 3, right? This makes sense. And you have a dictionary called DI. This is dictionary 1 is mapped to 1. So you can do codes as well. So E is east, W is west. You get the idea, right? So this can be your decoder. So what does E stand for? East. Cool. Thanks for letting me know, Kavya, Pooja, and Salim. Cool. Now we have dictionary, and now comes like one more interesting thing. So we covered two pillars. First was the variables. Second was conditional. So you do something based on something, some condition. Like if something is true, then do this, otherwise do that. The third is loops. Because loops are very important because they let you ask the computer to repeat stuff, right? So when you have a person doing stuff for you and you ask him the same thing, like doing the same thing again and again, like it will be pretty bored, right? So like how do you print like till 100 using only the knowledge we learned till now? What would you do? You will do print 1, print 2, and you will sit down and write till 100, right? This is what, like till now, this is what we can do. Otherwise you can do print 1, 2, like you have to write down everything. But that's not like what computers are for. Computers are for like automating stuff to reduce the manual stuff as much as possible. So that's where loops are like lifesavers. So let's start with the simplest loop, and the first thing, for. This is a for loop. So like almost every language has a for loop. For, let me write it down and then I'll explain. Range 10, print I. Cool, right? So in 2 lines of code, we printed 10 lines of output. So you can do like 1000 here and it will print. So if you notice, for I in range this and then semicolon. So just like if something, semicolon, and then the body. So this is the body of the loop. So any line inside this, print I, then I can also do print 2i. So in the first case, the body had 1 line, so it was executed, and then this case 2 lines. What did I do? So that's why I said to you, like indentation is important, right? So for I in range, print I and then print 2i. So 0, 0, 1. So let's go to the simpler one, right? So what is happening here? So what Python is doing is, like when you give it the range function, it is a function. So it takes a number and it basically gives Python a list of numbers to iterate over. So this is called iteration. And for I in range 10, right? So range 10 means start at 0. So by default it will start at 0 and go for 10 numbers. So this is not like end at 10. It will end just like before 10. So at 9, right? So Python will come here, see this loop, and I is the name of the variable. So it can be anything. So this is the variable name you defined. And then, okay, indentation error. This. And then you can do print my num, right? So my num, this is like your name, and Python will automatically at each. So first time when it reads this line and when it goes inside the body to execute, my num will be 0, right? So it prints 0, and then again it comes back to this line and it checks like whether we are at 9 or not before 10, right? So it will increment it automatically. So it goes to 1 and then to 2, then to 3, so on and so forth. And once it reaches 9, it checks like behind the scene that whether we have reached 10 or not, right? So on 9 it will print and then it becomes 10 and then it will say, okay, we have reached 10 now, no more execution, come out. So now range function is pretty flexible for I in range. You can give it a start point. So it starts at 1 instead of 0. So I can do print I. Now it will start at 1. You can also give it a step. Why am I making this mistake? Indentation looks fine. Okay, comma, print I. So this is the step. So we are saying that start at 1, go till 10, not including 10, but take steps of 2. So instead of jumping, incrementing 1, increment 2, right? So instead of going from 1 to 2, it goes to 1 to 3, like, and then 3 to 5, 5 to 7. So it takes 2 steps. Make sense? Where am I? Okay. Messages go away. Any questions till now? I'll drink some water. You can ask the questions. So let's try. What if Vicky asks, what if we increment by 0? Print I. Ha ha ha. It won't let you because you can't increment anything. Like you can't go from 1 to 10 if you increment by 0. You will never reach there, right? So it's like you are saying Python start at 1, go to 10 and don't increment. So Python won't let you do that because it doesn't make sense, right? Third argument must not be 0. You can have negative, by the way. So it's fun. So you can do -1 and then do print I. So you are asking Python to start at 1, go till 10 using like going backwards. So think about this. Does 1 comes after 10 or before 10? Before 10, right? So you can't go back and like, so I'll just do one thing. I'll swap this. So now we are telling Python start at 10, go till 1 and takes increments of -1. So now it will start and like -1, -1, -1, -1. It will stop just before 1. So you have just one thing you have to remember. Cool. Now you can do some cool stuff with this. Let me just show you an example. Kavya asks print I of 5. I is not a, what do you say? A string or a list. So you can't index it like that. I is on its own, right? I was on its own. It's a simple variable. Cool. The next is like what sorts of stuff you can do. So let me give it a name. So Frappe, and then for I in range start at 0. 0 is default, so we can do length name print name of I. So it will basically range goes from 0 to length of name. So length of name is 6. So this range goes from 0 to 6. So I is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 because it stops just before 6, right? So first time it goes into the loop, it will check what do I want to print. I want to print name of I. So I is 0. So name of 0 is the first element in this. So F, and then the second, then the third. So yeah, we printed each character, right? So you combine list with even shorter thing. So for I in name print I. So this is like without using the range, you can iterate over any list or dictionary directly. So if I have my elements, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 4799, and then you can basically do a loop for element in my elements print the element but make it twice, right? So it goes through the list. So in the first iteration, the first element will come, second, third, fourth. So 1 2 is a 2, 2 2 is a 4, 3 3 is a 3 2 is a 6, 4 2 is a 8, and so on and so forth. Makes sense? You can combine lists, even dictionaries. Right. Dictionaries. My words is still defined, right? Yeah. For element in my words. So what do you think will output will be? Apple and fan. So by default, if you iterate over a dictionary by giving it a name, it will print its keys. So the keys, not the values. So what if you want to print the values instead, right? So just a simple change. You print my words of element, right? So instead of printing the key, you are asking for the value of the key from the dictionary and then printing it, right? Zan, yeah, your answer is correct. The keys are printed by default, but if you want to print the values, you can ask Python to give the value related to that element. So first time it goes through this loop, ELE will be Apple, and the second time it goes through this loop, it will be fan. So equipment is printed. Does that make sense? Cool. You can learn more about dictionaries. So there is like one more method that you can use. So values. So Ritvik was asking whether I can, like, what are other methods that are available. So if you do this and print element, it will iterate over values instead, right? So default is this. So default is this. So this works the same as like not providing any method. Cool. Now you know how to iterate over dictionaries and lists. Let's do a simple program and then we'll go to functions. Cool. More water. If you have like water by your side or coffee or anything, please drink, because I don't know, for a few days, like for the past few days, like the weather has is becoming increasingly hot at my place. I think it's all over India, so there are some alerts as well that it's going to be more warmer or hotter. So Kavya asked for word in dict print word. If you want to print both, yeah, if you want to print both, you can do my for word in my words. Again, there are like my words, print the word colon, and then my words. Now you can mix and match stuff, right? Because you know print takes word, right? So it prints the key first and then extracts the value and then prints it. So apple is fruit, fan is an equipment. Awesome. So now let's do one thing. So there is a list 1 2 3 and we want to add something to it. So there is an append method. You can give it like 4 and it will add it to the end of the list. So it's like not you defined the list and you cannot mutate it. There is another data structure called tuple. You can check that out after the session. Like you can't like extend it just like you can extend a list. You can do pop. So what happens is the last element is removed. So again I will do a pop and 3 is gone, right? Cool. You can also use like slicing also is not that like relevant right now because we want to cover server script as well. Otherwise, I have like there is a lot of stuff that I'm not covering. These are just the basics. So a dot insert, a dot remove. There are like many methods like append and pop for lists, right? There's amazing method which like very useful. Zebra and Joker, right? A dot sort a, so it will sort alphabetically. So sort method is like very useful. You can have roll numbers equal to 1 10 9 6 0 and numbers dot sort, so it will sort, right? Cool. Lot of stuff. Go over the documentation, play around. So I think Frappe Cloud is back or not. Frappe Cloud is back. So go here, like follow the getting started. Now you have like context because I went over a few things, and now you can pick up the tail and go deep, go till whatever you want to learn because it's interesting stuff once you get the hang of it. Cool. Now we know about dictionaries, loops, if else. So what you can do is like combine stuff. My students is a list of dictionaries. So there are like two students, John, and he has a grade of say 6, and name is Jenny. She is much more brighter than John, so the grade is 915, right? So my students is a list of dictionaries, so you can mix and match. So 2 elements in this list, and if I want to check the grades for Jenny, I can go to my students, Jenny, and then grade. Okay, what did I do wrong? No, sorry. Go to Jenny's, like index is 1 and then the marks grade. Where is your mind, bro? Yeah, 915. So if I change this to 0, it will go to the first element, and this is the first dictionary, and then inside that it will access the grade and 6. Now you can loop over for student in my students, right? If student of grade greater than 8, right? Print, you will receive a gift, and then I can pass in the name of the student. So if I want to write a program that sends gifts to like all the students who got a grade greater than 8, right? You will receive a gift Jenny, right? So if I do this, my students, and increases the John's rating to 9 as well, and run the loop again. So I'm combining if else loop, right? Now both will receive a gift. Everyone is happy. The teacher is happy. The students are happy. Let's jump to functions now. Cool. Any doubts? Like if everything is going fine, like thumbs up emoji, and I will be like on my way to functions. The first thumbs up emoji I see, I move ahead to functions. Come on. Yep, Rahil. Thanks. Now I can move forward. And then we have cool functions. So what are functions? So functions, like we have been using functions till now. So print is a function. You give it something, it will do it. Input is a function, and then length was a function. So functions are basically used to encapsulate logic. It's like 3:44 now. Maybe we'll be able to cover server scripts as well. So Kavya, you can find episode 2. Like, it was not related to coding. I was trying out something and like it didn't turn out as expected. So yeah, you can find them, the episode 2 here. Episode 1 is like was an advanced class. So you can find that like in the Frappe channel, because at that time this channel didn't exist. Now it exists. So do subscribe and click on notify, because every Wednesday 2:30 p.m. Cool. Yeah, Ritvik, I'll cover server script. Whether it takes me to 4:30, I don't care. But we are here to learn, right? If you are like, cool. So yeah, length was a function which used like you can pass it something, it will do some calculation and it will return something. So how can we write our own functions, right? How do we write our functions? Because then we don't have to worry about like repeating our logic. So right now, if I told you write a function to, sure Kavya, I will post a link of that in the description, or like just remind me at the end and I will share it in the chat as well. So yeah, where were we? Print hello username, right? Hello Kavya. So what if there are like 10 lines of code, I want to execute it for 10 students, not just one line of code. But and it doesn't, it is not like I have the list right now, because otherwise I would have looped, right? Maybe it will come later and I then come back. Cool. So what we will do is we'll write a function and then discuss. So def my function. So this is the name of the function. You can call it whatever you want, but you can't use like special characters other than underscore, and it can't start with a number, the name. So variable rules are same. So if like you were some students of high school, I would have told you like 2 marks question that comes everywhere in the CBSE exam, like every year in the CBSE exam is like, here are some names of the variables, which are them are valid, which are not valid, right? So there are like 2 or 3 rules. So first is like your variable names can't start with a number. You can't have any special character other than underscore in your variable names. And the third rule, it should not be a reserved word. So you can't have a function named if, like invalid syntax. Cool. Def my function. Let's write the simplest function. Camel method. Yeah, you can, but I assume you're speaking about this camel case, right? You can, but like if you check standard Python libraries, Python code, it's like a good convention. A convention in the world, like Python uses snake case. So this is snake case. So if you want to separate stuff, use in underscore, right? Convention to follow. Like everyone follows it. Like if you write, it's not like you have to follow it in toy projects or whatnot, but I would recommend you to like go through some good conventions. So code looks pretty as well. Consistent. Yeah. So I will write the simplest function. Print you are calling my function. This is it. I defined a function. Def. So to define a function, use the def keyword. So it's a keyword. Then you give it a name. Then this 2 brackets, the rounded brackets. And then like just like if and for, you have a semicolon and then the body of the function. It can have like 10 lines, 20 lines, 100 lines, doesn't matter. But as long as they're in the body, when you call the function, so for calling the function, this is not like you call it by name. It won't call it. It will give you a reference to that function, like, but it won't call it. So for calling it, you have to use this curly bracket, round brackets, right? So now I can call it as many times as I want, wherever I want, once it's defined. I can call it 100 times, right? I can write 10 lines and I can call it in one single line. But what useful is a function which does, like, just prints its name, right? So it's like pretty non-modest function. So yeah, let's do one thing. So this was like the simplest function. Python will find that function when you execute it and execute it line by line. Cool. Parentheses. Yeah. I don't know what happens if you check out my last live stream too. I tend to forget like words during live stream. I don't know. So I think I forgot downside in the last stream and like Salim reminded me. Cool. So yeah, say hello. I'm defining another function. This time, not empty parentheses. I am giving it a name. Print hello name. Okay, spaces are added automatically. So now the function is defined. Now what we can do is we can call it, but now it takes something. It is called an parameter, right? So you have defined a parameter that somehow the function uses to do its logic, right? And in this case, the parameter is named name. So it takes a name and prints hello name. So if you pass it Rushabh, I don't know if Rushabh is watching the stream. I don't know. He may not be watching, but like, yeah. Hello Rushabh. And then we also have Prashant on the stream. So hello Prashant. Right? So you now have a function that takes something and prints like based on that name. Cool. Let's write like more advanced function. Def add. We are writing a function that adds 3 numbers a, b, c. So you can have a comma separated list of parameters, and when they are passed from here, they are called arguments. So we are passing an argument called Prashant. We are passing an argument called Rushabh, right? Whenever you like, this is the lingo that you might listen like when you hear some programmer talk, right? So I am passing this argument to this function, or like this argument is this passed to. This is not that argument like fighting wala argument, but function argument. So ABC, and I will use a special keyword return. So instead of doing something, it's returning something. So I can catch it wherever I am calling this function. So A plus B plus C, right? So it returning the value of this. So what I'll do is do add 1, 2, 3, 6, right? So it went ahead like A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. We passed it from here and it returns A plus B plus C. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. Awesome. We now know how to use functions, how to define them. So I will define one more function. Print natural numbers and end number, right? I don't know if 2 spaces are allowed. Okay, come on, E, and then what I will do is I will write a for loop for I in range natural number start at 1 and end number plus 1. Why did I do plus 1? Can anybody like answer? Print I, and what I'll do is end equal to do. Define the function. Now I can call this function by its name. Yep. So I plus 1 is not the increment. So +1 is because, as you know, 0 is a whole number, right? Yeah, that's why it's not a natural number. No, it's not increment. So that's why I asked this question. So I told when you give it 1 to 6, it will stop at 5, right? So if the user wants the end number to be 10, we have to include it somehow. So we have to go till 11 to include 10. Yeah, Rakesh Singh, exactly. Otherwise, it will not add the last one. So let's test it out. 10. So now you see 10 is included. Like till now, we have seen print functions that print like on new lines. But what I did is like I modified the behavior of this print function, like calling this print function. So the end, like by default, it adds a new line after every print. But in this case, it will add a hyphen, right? So 1, in the second loop it will be 2, 3, 4, 5. So end number will be 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. So it will go from 1 to 10, which is exactly correct. Functions is covered. Now you can return stuff, you can take arguments, you can do whatever you want. Now we are done with Python. Let's go to server script and we'll write some more Python. So let's sign up. So you can go to frappecloud.com/frappe/sign up, I think. If you directly go to sign up, you will need a credit card. This is like the Frappe SaaS, which is like you don't need any credit card, you get free trial for 15 days. Let's give it a name. The site will be accessible at, so build with Hussain. Hyphen can I use? Yeah, at the end I cannot use, but build with Hussain 3. Yeah, first name is Hussain, last name is, so it's like my details. Phone number is required. Okay, 0773635. Not my real number. Email address, I will use frappe.cloud and then set a password for yourself. I agree. Create account. Cool. If you are following along, please feel free to create a site. We'll have fun together. And if you have trouble creating the site, just let me know. I'm here to help. Yeah, so it sent a verification email. I'll just open up a new window and bring it to my second monitor because my mail is like, you don't want to see my mail. You can, but okay. This is like the email I got. I can click on verify account. So my site is being prepared. Go full screen. Full screen. Site was prepared. Now the site is live. Like, what did it take? 2 minutes? India. So this is the new feature we introduced for like it sends anonymous user data so we can improve and find bugs easily. So it's Frappe Cloud, but you have to use this special link I have pasted in the chat, like the description. frappecloud.com/frappe/signup. So I'll give like this is the first super admin account for Frappe. Nagaria Hussain at frappe.io. I'll give it a password. Complete setup, save, and in a few seconds we'll be inside the Frappe instance. Till then, it's done. Setup complete. So this is how easy it is to get like a Frappe site, right? 15 days free. So you can test out things, try out things. So I'll go to system console. So system console is like pretty handy tool. You can run Python and SQL like directly from here. So Prashant asks, are you asking me? Am I from Kolkata? If you're asking me, no, I am from Chhattisgarh. Bastar, Chhattisgarh. So you might have heard of Bastar. The Dashera is very famous here. Adivasi people are also popular. It's like majority. Cool. Were you guys able to create a site, or you all? If you have a local site, then that's fine too, because that works. But I wanted to show a easy way to get started. You don't have to install anything. Water. What the thing? Yeah. So, like just like any, like the Python console we have been working with, you can do a equal to 3, b equal to 6. But instead of print, we do log, because like we specially handle the log function, right? So the print doesn't work because we don't directly print it to the console. We are so if you check to print the output, use this. So it, when you do a plus b and click on execute, like, so it will execute this code and output is 9. So for this thing we are using log. So log is not a Python thing, but like Frappe thing, which just basically what the print function does. It does that for here. So it's like for working, making it work in the browser. So don't get confused, it's like straightforward. Yeah, all sorts of stuff we can do. So we get syntax highlighting here. Define, say hello, name, right? Print hello plus name. Another way to like print it. And then I can, oh, print doesn't work here. So log. Yeah, log, say hello, and give it a name of Ritvik, and execute. Hello Ritvik, right? And you can also check the logs of whatever you executed in the past. So the first program we executed, this you don't get in the terminal by default, right? You can check the output, what was the output of that execution. Pretty handy stuff. Yeah, so not everything that is available from the Python console in the Frappe backend, the bench dash site name and then console. So ERP admin PSPL asks, can you show us any advanced Python concept? I don't think we'll be able to do that today, but if there is enough demand, we can go over like an advanced Python session sometime next month. So just drop a comment if anyone like wants a Python advanced section with decorators and other high level stuff. So yeah, Prashant, you can also define your own data types that are called classes. I'm not going to cover them today because they are not like required for server scripts. But yeah, do go over classes. So the fifth pillar I was talking about, defining your own data types. Cool. So now whatever you can execute in the console, you can also execute in the server script, right? But you can't execute everything you can like do in normal Python console because it uses the restricted API. So if you go to Frappe framework and .com, get started, and then search for server scripts. So server script, and then so if you read the security part, I'll just paste it in the chat. So framework uses the restricted Python library to restrict access to methods available. So not everything is available in the console, this console, right? So there is a reason for it, because we don't want any security issues to be caused. Someone might like you give access accidentally to someone to your site, and like he can like wipe your whole system for system console if you are giving access to all the Python features. So that's why it like restricted. It has like Most of the stuff you will need to run a server script, but yeah. Recursion, right? Like we can cover that in the next section as well, like whenever we do it. But let's start. So you can check this script API. So basically this all, you also have a Frappe client, so you can make request from your server scripts. So this is like, I want to cover it towards the end, but let's see what we can do. So in Python, you have Jinja. Like when you go to Frappe repository, you will find this functions defined somewhere, and you can, like, you have to modify that list in order to make more things available to your server scripts than are available. So these all things are available. So if you check, there is a JSON, right? You can do translate, format, date, request, response. So the cool thing is getDoc, right? getDoc is everywhere. So let's start by doing getDoc. So what I will do is I will define a variable. So my user equal to frappe.getDoc. So this is a function, but it lives inside this namespace. So instead of like getDoc, you do frappe.getDoc. We had like gone over more stuff. So you don't need to import Frappe. Like Frappe is already available. Like we take this code to the backend and wrap it up in like some other code that provides Frappe namespace already. So what shortcut command are you using to navigate through your tabs, please? So I am hitting Command T. Command T is like this browser is Arc, by the way. So Arc. So Arc is a browser which is like pretty cool. So you can navigate your tabs through Command T, and you can write new, right? So modern browser. Yeah, so let's do getDoc. getDoc takes 2 arguments. Now you know what arguments are, right? So 2 arguments, the DocType and the name of that DocType which you want to get. So I think we created one user called this at the start. And now what I can do is I can print. So log is the equivalent of print in Frappe's system console. I can print my user. So it prints user Hussain at frappe.io, and I can print like lots other information that I can find. So let's open user list, and I have Hussain Nagaria. And if I want what language he prefers, then I can go back to my language en, right? So you can access so it's basically a dictionary, but like not a dictionary in the sense, but you can access it via dot notation, just like methods, right? So Zen asks, so I think, so you have to check the Frappe source code, Zen. You go to the source code, and then you go to Frappe, you go to file, JN, Jinja globals.py. Let me send it in the chat as well. So this is the file where the globals are. No, not Jinja globals. Sorry, what did I do? Something else. Jinja globals. No. It's called something else. Safeexit.py. Okay. Jinja globals is like what all methods are available from. Good to know, Prashant. You're from Nepal. So this, you can check out like after this stream too, the code. Cool. So I think this is clear. Now, what I want to do today is like write some server script, right? So What are server scripts? So you know DocType. DocTypes are like the models of data. You can create your own custom DocTypes. There are like core DocTypes as well in Frappe, and we can use it like create, read, update, delete. But sometimes we want more. We want to customize stuff. We want some logic to be applied extra, and we don't have to deploy an app to do that. We have low code features where with very little code we can do like lot of stuff. So let's create a new doc type for the purpose of like demonstration. I'll call it student. I'll create a new module. My module, it's a custom module. Yeah, so I can, the fields will be first name, data is fine, last name, and then full name. Then we have house, which can be a select field. So I'm modeling a student like from my school, red, green. So every student has a house which he or she belongs to, and then one day of the week you have to wear that t-shirt in that color, and I don't know if it is like same in your country or whatever. So it's like just like Hogwarts, right? So you have Slytherin and yeah, same type of thing. So class is basically an integer. So first, second, third, fourth, and we can make it non-negative. So because, and first name is mandatory, house is mandatory. Let's make class also mandatory. And save. We have our new doc type. We'll go to. You haven't created a student yet, I know, Hussain. Last name can be Nagaria. I was in the blue house like the last 2 years. 11th. Right now we have a student record. House is blue, class is 11. Doc type works. Now what I want is, I want this full name to be automatically populated, right? So I want to concatenate this two and to be set to full name. So where do I write code? I don't want to go and write code in the Frappe repository, because then I would have to go and deploy stuff and a lot of coding related stuff, right? So what you can do is, we have a server script feature where you can write a script that will run in the server. Server script. So let's go to server script. I will create a new server script and you have to give it a name. So let's call it set full name in student. So I usually name it with the purpose what it is serving. So this server script will set the full name in student, right? So there are like 4 types of script. We'll go over 3 today. So DocType event, scheduler event, and API. Permission query is related to permissions, little advanced stuff, less used, but these 3 are like most of the times you will use these 3. So DocType event is basically when something happens in a particular DocType. Right? So you have to give it like which DocType. On event of which DocType you want to call this server script. So clearly we want to call it on student, and before it is inserted, like there are a lot of hooks. So before insert means whenever a new student will be created, before it is created, this script will run. You can do before save. So whenever the record is changed and it is going to be saved in the database, it is run. So I'll do before save because sometimes people might go and change last time after they have created it, right? So then you can check the help here. You can check the this, and you can also check like the permission query later if you want. So what you see here is when you select DocType event, a special doc variable is available inside this server script. So you can access the data and you can like do more stuff using that data, right? So when this server script runs, you will have this doc will be a student doc type of that particular student, whichever is like we are saving, right? So what I will do is, for now, I'll do a simple frappe.throw. So you also get autocomplete. So frappe.throw basically throws an error from server script. I'll save it. It is enabled by default. You can disable also. And then I will go like to student. I'll go to student list. What I will do is I will change it. I'll change it to what am I doing? MD Hussain. Yeah, okay. So from server script, right? The error came from server script and the document was not saved, because like if your server script throws, then it doesn't run any forward. Like it doesn't move forward with whatever you want. So be careful. So let's do one thing. What we want to do is doc we have available, and if we do doc.first name, because this, so I can't do first name, right? So how do I know what name is available? So you go back to your DocType list and student, and this is the name that is like the name of the Python variable in which your fields are stored. So first name is first underscore name, full name is full underscore name, right? So we'll go back here and I will frappe.throw this instead. Save. I'll go back to student. I'll close this. I'll go back to this student. Go to student list. I'll do this. I'll do again this and save. Right? First name is accessible on the server script. So let's go back. Set full name student. So setting a full name is as easy as full name equal to. So you can either use variables, you can also set variables, because it is before save, right? So before saving, if you change anything in your, so let's do something nasty. Like don't do it in production server scripts, because your users are going to LOL. I'll save it. I'll go back to the student. I'll refresh. I don't need to refresh. I'll do Mohammed Hussain. Now your user is stuck. Whenever he tries to change this, oh no, it will change it to LOL. Right? Because it goes back, it is running this server script, and this server script is setting the first name to LOL. And then the database is saved and like the form is refreshed, right? Very, very like useful, as well as like you can do all sorts of stuff with this. Cool. Now let's like do what we wanted to do in the first place. Doc dot full name. Are you following me or am I lost? What I did was I set the full name to first name plus a space, then a last name. I'll go back. Now I'll change this to Hussain. Full name is set automatically. How useful, right? You can do all sorts of calculations. So just think about it. Like you have a new doc type called vehicle, and then you can do all sorts of calculation if you have two fields and you want a third field to be set based on that. So I don't want the user to set this, because even if he sets, it will go away. So one nice thing to do in such fields is like go ahead, go to full name and make it read only, right? So what will happen is now the user can't change this, and it makes sense. So let's try new form builder. So form builder is coming in V15. So I think the V15 is the by default site now. We are getting like, so V15 beta is the site you will get by default. So last name, full name, house and class, and save. So just by dragging and dropping, I like refactor the form. Now if I change this to, so let's do one thing. Let's remove last name. Right? It still works. But I'm jumping into client script. I should not. Like client script is another whole daemon that we can conquer someplace else. Hussain Nagaria, right? Awesome. Now we used a server script officially. Now you can write server scripts, right? You can do all sorts of why, okay, right? You can disable and it won't run. Awesome stuff. You can also check if doc dot last name. If there is a last name, then do this. Else doc dot if else full name is just equal to the first name, right? First name, sorry. Yeah, this is more robust because it might not be visible here, but if I remove the last name, there was a space after Hussain. Now it won't be because I updated the script. You can do all sorts of stuff here, right? I'll just go over the next thing. So now what I want is basically I want a button here. So I will write a little client script, not much, that will add a button here, and then I will click the button to graduate this student to next class. Prashant, I'm not getting the emoji. Is it a laughing emoji? If it is, like, then good. It's a fish. I don't know. Yeah. Cool. I don't know if people are watching it like after 1 or 2 years. Thanks for watching this, guys. And if they are able to watch the chat. Yeah. So ERP admin PSPL in server script, when we call a function that calls itself, then it's showing recursion error. So I don't know if recursion is allowed in server script. It should be, but let's check. So I will add a server script. Cool. Good to know. Reference document can be anything because no, let's do in this script as well. So what I will do is I will do def Fibonacci n return if n equals 0, or you don't need to understand this. Like, this is my favorite example for recursion. So Kavya, I would recommend you to go over frappe.school and basically take the Frappe framework course, or you can also go to frappeframework.com/docs and then start with the tutorial. So there is a basic tutorial that goes over building a library management system, and you will be like up to up to speed in no time, because it's like no code, low code. You don't have like to know expert in any language. Now you also know like Python, right? Now like you are way ahead. Return I'm just writing a recursive function n-1 plus Fibonacci n-2 print n. I don't know, like it's incorrect, but let's save. A print doesn't work here, so log works, but let's do frappe.log. No, print doesn't work, log works. Fibonacci 10. I'll save it, I'll go back, I'll change my first name to Asad. Document has been modified. Okay, fine. Fibonacci is not defined. What did I do? Is there something wrong here? Looks fine. Maybe recursion is not supported. I have no idea. I haven't required a need to call recursions. Sure. Be sure to join the next live stream, Kavya. Hope to see you there too. So next live stream is with Nikhil Kotari on building apps with Frappe and React. That's like more of an advanced, more front-end related stream. Cool, Akhtar, noted. So yeah, I don't know what's happening here because everything looks good. Maybe Fibonacci is like, I don't know. Am I doing something wrong? Recursion might not be supported. Probably. Yeah, we can go over it. Like, we don't have time right now to explore this, but we'll go back to our old code. It's like 4:30 it's going to be, and we'll like write one script and end it. So the next script is like so I'll create one more DocType. So this will be fee record, and the module will be my module, and basically a student pays a fee. So it will be a link field because we want to link to a particular student record. So you can't generally log data in server script because you don't see the output, they run behind the scenes, right? So the good way is to use frappe.log, which creates a error log here, right? So use that. So student is mandatory. Then we have amount, which can be currency. It is also mandatory, and it cannot be negative. Cool, let's keep it simple. I can go to fee record list and create a fee. So this doesn't look good, so let's do one thing. Go to student and edit this DocType basically. Edit. Okay, edit doesn't come here. It only shows up in developer mode, I guess. What I will do is I will set form settings, view settings, title field will be full name, show title in link field, save, go back to fee record, refresh, fee record, and add a fee record, student. Now I can see the title of the student, right? So it's much more helpful than the code. So Ritvik asked frappe.log or frappe.messagePrint, which one is preferred? So it depends on your use. Frappe.log is used to log information like permanently. So it will create a log in the error log DocType, and frappe.messagePrint will basically print a message based on wherever it is running. So it can run in the JavaScript, so it will print. So there is also an error print which you can call in the backend, but it will print the message in the front end. So I can show you that. Amount can be 10,000, right? Server script. Let's jump there for a bit, and what I will do is frappe.error print doc.full name has been set from server script. We'll join this, and now I'll go to any student list, San Nagaria, JavaScript, console, JavaScript console, clear the console. I will change my first name back. Okay, none time. What did I do? Okay, full underscore name, sorry. Save. So yeah, as you can see, you printed from server scripts, but it shows you in. So pretty handy for debugging purposes. Error print. So if you ever are debugging a server script, very useful. ERR print. Trick of the day. Cool. Let's write, like we were in the fee record. So fee record list, and we created a fee record. Now what we want is like an API that returns the total fees paid by a particular student, right? So student 10,000 will create another record. Sandhagariya amount is 20,000. Like, so now there are two records. Now we want an API that you can call externally. So REST API is already available, but what if you want specific, like special API endpoints that you can call from other applications, or other people can call by authenticating, without authenticating, right? So let's go to server scripts, create another server script. Now this time, instead of a document event, I'm going to click API, and it will ask you for an API method. So this is what the route will be, where your the endpoint basically get total fees, right? Allow guest. So this will allow anyone to call your API. Otherwise, only authenticated people. So they need to authenticate using auth tokens, or like either from the desk they need to be authenticated. So name will be get total fees API, and I will write a script. So what do we want? We want the sum of all scripts, right? All the fees. So Power BI, you can I think it takes database connections, right? You can directly connect the database. Also do check out Frappe Insights. I find it very cool because you install it on your Frappe site, and like boom, you can get started with Insights. You don't have to connect any other external services. So yeah, so we need to end it soon. So let's try to write this script soon. So what I will do is Frappe message. I think Frappe dot response. So let's check the docs. So if you want to set, like you can access the incoming data using form dict, and you can set the response based on that. So let's copy this, and right, so you can call this using this. Hi, I'm a 4. Yeah, good guy, goodbye. You can check out the recording later if you want. So I'll paste it here. So if the message is ping, it will send pong. If the message is otherwise, it will send okay. Let's save it. Now this API can be called. Let's allow guests to, so we can test it out from outside our like without authenticating for the purposes of this session. And what I will do is I will go to Insomnia. So I have this like API client that I use for testing stuff. I'll copy the link. So /API /method method name. So this is the method name. I want a get request, send. Authentication error. Wow, I have allowed guest. Why? Maybe it doesn't work this way. Okay, so sure. Why I'm sending this authentication? So I had some stuff already set up. Okay, I was testing some stuff. Okay, message is okay, right? Because we didn't pass ping. Now how do you pass? So now you can pass message, JSON message. Message is ping, and now we should receive pong, right? Now what I will do is I'll remove this JSON and like I want the user of this API to pass a student ID of a student. So we can find a student ID, this student, and then pass it here. So whenever I call it, I should receive the message that this is the total fees, right? So what I will do is I'll go to my script, and here doc is not available because this doesn't run for a doc. This runs when we receive an HTTP request at this endpoint. Now what I will do is frappe dot get all. I'm getting, like, check out the docs, you will find. So this is insomnia. It's like free. I think it's not available for any other what do you say, operating system than Mac. I don't know. Insomnia. Free download now. Let's see if it's available for any other. No, it's only okay. Download for Windows and Ubuntu. It is available. So maybe I remembered. So let's get fee record. So I will remove this. What I will do is I will records. So I want to get the student ID that the caller of this API send, right? So frappe dot form dict dot. So frappe dot form dict is a special dictionary which you can use dot notation or this as well. So I will do student ID, get all the records and apply the field. So I will, so this is like Frappe ORM. You have to go through the docs. You will see what all is available for you at your disposal for writing server scripts and interacting with your Frappe backend. Fields should be amount. I don't need like the names. Filters, I want student to be this student ID, and return. So I don't return, I basically do this. Response should be sum of what I can do is I will do plug the amount. So we can even return this whole thing. So let's return the records, right? So I will save it. So get all fee record plug amount student ID. So it returned the amount, right? The list of amounts. So pretty good. Now I can return the sum of this. So instead of message, I'll do total fees paid. 30,000. Now we have our own server script that, like, working API. You can disable allow guests to for authentication and so on and so forth. You didn't have to write any like complex code or deploy any app, right? So server scripts are powerful. I have just like, this is just, what do you say, the tip of the iceberg. Do you have any questions? You can't like return an object here. So this is how you need to tell Frappe that this is the response. So plug means, okay, I'll show you what plug means. So if I don't do plug, right, I do this and I will return it. So it will return a dictionary for each record and that amount. So plucking is basically plucking this out of this dictionary, plucking this field out and having it like list of this thing. Saw the difference? Ritvik, makes sense? Some more water. Thanks, Talib Sheikh. Always good to know. Like, I'm also planning to create more and more helpful content related to Frappeverse. Like, if you're interested, just subscribe and like tell your friends, colleagues. Cool. Now let's write one more script and then you can go home. Like, if you're already at home, you are at home. I will go. I am at home too. Like, what's happening these days? We are all at home. Cool. Bazinga. Yeah. You watch Big Bang Theory, right? So, Big Bang Theory is one of my favorites. So, Sheldon. So, let's write one more server script. So, this time I'll scheduler event. So, scheduler event is like a script that runs on a schedule. It's just like cron job, right? You like if you have worked in Linux or any other web development software, you know that like you can schedule any code to run at particular intervals. So I want to monthly send an update to the student from Uganda. Awesome, awesome. Like, thanks for joining in at this time. And like, you're staying with me like 2+ hours, right? You must have dedication because, yeah. Building and learning, like best way. So let's give it a name of send emails. So I don't have email set up on this site, but let's go celebrate. Cool. Send, what we can do? Send email. And so this will run monthly. So how to get multiple records of more than one student? So yeah, instead of passing this filter, I will go to server scripts. You don't pass this filter, so you will get like students, and don't pluck as well. So then what I will show you is like fields equal to student and amount. I will remove this filter and then I'll go back to Insomnia, run it. As you can see, now you get like all the records. I don't have any other student, otherwise I would have got all the students. So module for export is basically my module. Save it. Export, I think data export. No, data export no. It was like package release list. Okay. Create new package. I think something related to exporting. So you can export this script and all other related stuff of the module in one package, and then you can install it on other site. As far as I know, I have never used it. I think Rushabh himself did this feature last year sometime. Not much used, but yeah. I don't know if it is for some other stuff as well. So it's related to export because there is an export here. Cool. So let's finish off our email API. So now you can do frappe.sendMail and give it the email of the student. We don't have an email, so I'll give my email, and then the message can be you have paid fees. So we can calculate the total fees here. Frappe.get all students. For all students, we can loop over the students. So student pluck name. So name of each student, then I can for loop for student in students. I can send a mail to that student. If I had a field that email that this could work. So now for student in student, you have paid fees. So let's calculate fees, right? For so let's calculate fee records equal to frappe.getAll. So for this particular student, I went to get the fee record. Plug amount. So I'm plugging the amount from the fee record. Filters. So there is a better way than this, but for now this will work. So I could have fetched all things here and then like grouped by and so on and so forth. Filters is student, right? For this particular student, we are doing this, and then we can do fee is equal to sum of this fee records, save, scheduled. So now you can check the log. Next execution, like this was the last execution. I think it's like some bug. Just report it somewhere, right? Next execution is 2002. So we can report the bug later. I will save this screenshot so I remember. So now automatically what will happen is like every month this script will be run and it will get all the students. For each student it will get the records, it will calculate the sum, and it will email them if you have email set up. Cool, sounds good. Like you can even do if else, like if you know the total value of the fees and they have paid less, like annoy them more frequently maybe. But you don't want to make education a business. I don't know like why I took this example, but fees should not be like, the money should not come in the way of education. That's what I believe. If I ever open a school, I don't know, I will make it optional. Never know. Yeah, it's very powerful. Like that's why like unlocking will take every Wednesday, right? So that's it, I guess. You have any other questions? Like you can check, like write a script, do some silly stuff, right? Frappe.log error, and then you can error, run it all. So all runs like minute, hour. So you can also do a test execution, execution complete. So behind the scene, the error is created. Like, so every 5 minutes, 6 minutes, it will run and it will create this document. So frappe.log error. Okay, I missed it like before. Cool. So like you can DM me on Twitter. Cool. So let me switch back to talking. Now we can have a chat. Like main content of the stream is over, I guess. Now like a few things, like go sign up, play around. If you have a doubt, like ping me on Twitter. We have discuss.frappe.io where you can get help from all the folks in the community, like very helpful folks. Even if I can't attend every question, they're like answering it like 24 hours. The second thing is like Frappe school certifications. We have like special certifications. So ERP Next certification is this month. So if I can show you, okay, Command T doesn't work. Okay, works. Frappe.school/certifications. I think that's the link. Nope. This, okay, ERP Next certification. So you can check, it's coming up this month. So yeah, and next month, like especially for the sake of like Frappe for more folks, I'm doing a special training for Frappe school certification next month. So I'll come up with a schedule and let you know. That's it. If you have any questions, just ask. Then I will have to check. But yeah, that's it. So check out frappeframework.com. Check out Frappe Cloud as well. Yep. So I'll end the stream in like 20 seconds, I guess. Yeah, good to have you guys. Kenneth, Zan, Ritvik, Salim, Kongoro, Ashish, everyone. Thanks for joining. Like, see you next week. Take care, everyone.